Hi everyone. So I have waited a long time to actually tell this story. Um, it's taken me a long time to be able to really talk about it completely. But this is what happened when I had my strokes and heart attacks. On November 4th, I was driving home from doing an event at a school in Lombard, and I started to not feel well, and I was driving back on Route 59 in West Chicago, and I ended up not like I said, I started not feeling well, so I pulled over, and for whatever reason, I took off my glasses and took my wallet out of my back pocket and put my phone into the center console. God knows why, and I got out of the car, and I guess I locked the car, and I went to try and walk down the street where there was a gas station to look for help. And once I don't remember much after that. Um, my next memory, full memory, was on Sunday, early afternoon. I remember going into a Burger King and getting a Pepsi because I was so thirsty. I didn't realize that I was covered in blood. Um, I had a flash memory of tripping in a parking lot and the cement blocks where your front tires go up against. I hit right here, and so I have a big scar here. It's kind of hard to see. Having the facial hair kind of helps that. And I also fell another time, and I have a big scar here. Um, I was beat up pretty good. Um, by my own doings, not beat up by anybody, but I was falling a lot, and during that time I had numerous interactions with the West Chicago Police Department, in which, even though I had the telltale signs of a stroke, the right side of my face was all drooped. I wasn't able to speak clearly. I had difficulty walking. I was covered in blood. I was wearing a white shirt, and the white shirt just was covered in blood and dirt. And I guess to them, I just looked like a vagrant. And instead of helping me and getting me medical attention, they were so kind as to try and point me in the direction. I remember at one point being pointed, saying, "Go to the end of the road, and that's Route 59, turn left, and you can take that out of town." That was what I got from West Chicago Police Department between November 5th and the 6th. At one point, I remember walking into a vape shop that is on Route 59, I believe in Roosevelt. It's where like the Dunkin' Donuts and the Burger King is, the AutoZone. This vape shop, and um, I asked the guy if he had Uber on his phone. I told him I needed help, and I had $60 in my pocket, which was actually the tip from the one of the moms at the event I did, and or from the teacher association or whatnot, and I gave him my ID, and he called an Uber to get me home to Sandwich, where I lived, and I gave him the $60 to cover it. I remember getting into the um, Uber, and what's strange is the Uber actually parked right next to my truck, but I didn't even realize it was my truck. Um, so I got home uh, mid afternoon, I'd say on Sunday, and I thankfully was able to get into the house. Um, and then I have multiple. I was trying to find my phone. I didn't remember that I left it in my truck, and so was asking for Alexa to. I have to say it silently, or else she starts responding. Um, Asking her to call my phone, and I kept getting my voicemail, and then I started asking her, "What day is it today?" And I didn't realize that I was still on voicemail, on my voicemail. So I heard these voicemails later on my phone, like much, much later. I didn't even know they were there. And where I was arguing with her about what she kept saying, today is Sunday, November 6th. And I, I was arguing with her. I don't understand why. I don't. What do you mean it's Sunday? How is it Sunday? And like screaming at her, and like just. Blah. Well, then I somehow made it up the stairs to my bedroom where I apparently collapsed again and went fully unconscious again until backtrack. Apparently, for a few days, my daughter had been trying to reach me, and it's very unusual for me to not text her back, you know, pretty much immediately or answer her calls. And so she was supposed to come home Sunday. I wasn't responding, so her mom just kept her. And then Monday morning was my next memory. Apparently, my daughter was brought back home, and her mother had told her to just grab her school stuff and walk to the bus stop, and she drove away. Well, when she came in, our dog started barking. I guess that woke me up. So Maisie, who is now gone after being attacked by that pit bull, she takes a big role in saving my life. She started barking, and I guess I yelled, "Shut up, Maisie." And my daughter heard me. And she came running upstairs, found me covered in blood, dirty, still in the same clothes from Friday. She said that I wasn't really speaking clearly and that I couldn't really walk. She called her mom and asked her mom to come back. And she said, something's wrong with Daddy. And she said, just go to school. He'll be fine. He probably got drunk. And which was just, no. Um, so she kept on insisting. She's like, no, Mom, I know my dad, and he's not, there's something wrong with him. She's like, he's all covered in blood, and there's something wrong with him. He can't talk right. He can't walk. Like, and so apparently I tried putting on her socks, um, which she likes to laugh about. But it is her persistence and her um, love for me and God that convinced her mother to come back. So she came back after about an hour or so. And once her mom saw me, she realized, oh shit, something's wrong. Something bad. So she brought me to the hospital in Yorkville, the little mini Rush hospital in Yorkville, where they pretty much were very clear and they could tell that this was beyond their scope. And so they had me transported to Rush Copley, where I spent about a week. I was severely dehydrated. Most of my organs had begun shutting down. The doctors said that if my daughter would have gone to school, I would have died. They said if I would have come into the hospital an hour later, they would not have been able to help me. That I was on the brink of death at this point. I had not eaten. I had not had anything to drink besides that Pepsi from Sunday, which obviously, carbonated beverages don't really do much for dehydration. Uh, I So that was Monday morning. My first memory after that was Tuesday afternoon being awoken by a nurse in the ICU at Rush Copley, and there was a radiographer, radiology tech at the foot of my bed, and I was being told that I was being brought down for a Doppler. They told me that I had multiple strokes and heart attacks, and that they needed to bring me down to radiology for a Doppler of my legs to look for any other clots. And the radiology tech who did the Doppler, who was standing at the foot of my bed, he says, "Are you a wedding DJ?" And it was the first time that I remembering who I am. It was my first real memory. It was the first time I was able to realize who I am. And I got excited and I said, "Yes, yes, I am. I'm a wedding DJ, yes." And it all started flooding back to me, like who I am, what, all of it. Um, when you go from having no idea of what your name is, to having this huge revelation, having your life flood back into your mind. And the radiology tech said, "You did my wedding 7 years ago." And I said, "How did I do?" And he goes, "You did awesome." And he goes, "Let's go get you fixed up." He goes, "Like you did for me and my wife." And it was amazing. So I spent quite a bit of time there at Rush. They were waiting for me to get my kidney function back, liver function back. I had gone into, a lot of organ failure during that period. And then I was finally released from the hospital. And let me tell you, not being able to see or talk to my daughter for all that time was so incredibly difficult. So my daughter's mother is the one who picked me up from the hospital afterwards. And she had, during the time that I was hospitalized, my daughter spent the better part of a week at my friend Danielle's house with her daughter, who is 4 days older than my daughter, and they are little besties. And then she spent the last few days at her Uncle Mike's. And so Soleil's mother had Soleil's uncle meet us at the hospital. So when I got out of the hospital, remember, I wasn't able to, they wheelchair you out. So they put me into Soleil's mom's car. And I went to, so we had to wait in the parking lot for my daughter to get there. And I remember seeing her uncle's car pulling up. And I just jumped out of the car, and her mom's like, "No, she's like, Marcus, just sit down." I'm like, "No, no." And I fervently walked with every bit of energy I could build, and I just held her. She got out of the car and jumped in my arms, and I just sat there and cried for 5 minutes holding her, my little hero who saved me from certain death. From that point on, well, the next day I called, I made 9 different appointments: neurologist, cardiologist, this is, that, all these different doctors, and all these different tests and all that. And so I was able to get in to see the doctor the cardiologist, and the cardiologist, he told me that I had what was a PFO, which I had a small hole in the top of my heart. I had a little flap over it. That little flap, it stopped blood from escaping from my heart in my all my life until that. But they did find that there was also a hole between the two upper chambers of my heart. And he told me that I would need surgery, which I told him, I said, I want to do it as soon as possible. And he goes, well, we can do it after the first year. I go, no, I want us to do it before the new year. I said, because I want 2023 to be not this year. So I just want 2022 to be over, and I want to put it behind me. Much harder than you think. But I had the surgery on December 13th, and it was a great success. I won't be having any more strokes. The holes in my heart have been patched up with what's called an amplatzer. It's pretty kind of cool. They actually bring it in through the femoral artery, and then they had another surgeon that went down through my throat. So there were two of them, and they insert this thing, and then the heart actually grows tissue around it and makes it a permanent fixture in my heart, which is really amazing and cool and life-saving, and it's such a fucking relief. And then I went through many months. It's just a long time of occupational therapy, physical therapy. I was cleared by the neurologist, and then finally my cardiologist told me I don't need to see you for another year. And I had high blood pressure. I have that under control through medication. I asked him, I said, I was curious, I've never checked. I said, how bad is my cholesterol? And he goes, are you kidding me? He's like, your cholesterol is 148. And I was like, oh. And he goes, yeah. It's like, your heart is very healthy. You just had those holes. So essentially what he explained to me was like, he said that a lot of clots had built up by the hole in the top of my heart. And that finally so much pressure had built up. Remember that high blood pressure? And it just exploded and shot up to 20 clots into my brain over, a period of a couple of days. And so I just had stroke, heart attack, stroke, heart attack, stroke, heart attack, stroke, heart attack, stroke, heart attack. It just went on and on. And it was just repeated. And it's just, my body took a hammering. But no matter what, the whole time I just kept thinking about my daughter. I kept thinking about my future, which is why I decided to go to school and back at school at University of Arizona, doing really well with that, trying to do a career change. It's been a struggle, obviously, mentally, physically, emotionally, financially. We have been just hammered. But I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be able to talk to you all. I'm glad to be able to tell you my story. And please, for the love of God, my birthday is on Friday. I'm going to be 50. And it's amazing that I'm making it to my 50th, because I was that close to not. So if anybody's going to do anything, can you please support any fundraisers for stroke research, as well as heart disease research and other things of that nature. Medical research is obviously a very big thing. It's amazing to me how they were able to help me, and how I see other stroke victims that are in wheelchairs that can't use half of their body, and I can run a mile. Yeah, that's the other thing is I have been walking, up to 10 miles a day, and I have lost a lot of COVID beer gut, um, pandemic beer gut, and gotten myself in much better shape and much healthier. Um, we are still struggling day to day. My client whose wedding I missed while I was having the strokes diligently just tried destroying my business minute by minute. She put out a total of 19 reviews under different names, different dates, but the same story each time. I got a lot of the reviews removed. Some of them are still there. I keep finding them. I had another one that popped up recently. She knows what happened. She knows. She actually told me that my daughter should have called her. My 9-year-old daughter should have called her. Like, my 9-year-old daughter, 1, runs my business, and 2, has her phone number. 3, gives a shit about her. She's scared her daddy's not going to come home. So, yeah, it's been a struggle. It's been real. And we are hurting financially, but I am so fucking grateful to be here, to be alive, to be able to continue to watch my daughter grow up. I am unbelievably grateful to my friend Danielle, who took her in while I was in the hospital, and she treats my daughter like she's her own. I mean, her daughter's literally the same exact age. They're 4 days apart. And she's an extremely special person to both mine and my daughter's hearts, and I'm grateful to her Uncle Mike, Solei's Uncle Mike, which is her mom's ex-husband's brother-in-law. But Solei's really close with her mom's ex-husband's family. That's because that's her sister's family, Solei's sister's family. And so we're really grateful to them. And I'm, but like I said, I'm mostly grateful for my daughter. She saved my life. And I'm grateful for my puppy, God rest her soul, because she took her part of saving me as well. And I just look forward to things getting better, and having more days and months and years watching my daughter continue to grow up. And I'm grateful for all of you, for all of your well wishes and everything that you have, the prayers, which I swear to God went a long way. I only have sometimes issues with my shoulder and a little bit with my right hand, but I am capable of pretty much everything. So I guess I'll just wrap this up. Thank you to all of you, to the West Chicago police who tried to just push the problem out of their way. Fuck you to them. Fuck you, West Chicago. But to all of you, thank you. And to my daughter, I love you more than life. As if that hasn't been proven. It was her love that kept me alive. So, you guys have a great week. And if anybody is free this Thursday, I am actually donating my services to an autism event in Villa Park. It'll be at Fuel and Creme. Awesome place owned by Jack Kozar, and Bill Guest is the gentleman who runs the autism event. And he's an amazing guy, and he does some amazing stuff. And me and my daughter love working this event together. It's one event that she can work with me, and we can't wait to be there. It's this Thursday. Come in the evening. I think we're starting around 4, maybe 5. I'll double check. I'll add it to the post, and it goes until like 8 or 9, something like that. But $5 cover, that goes towards getting children with autism the things that they need. They try it. Their goal is to buy as many iPads for autism children, as a lot of them have communication. There's a lot of nonverbal autistic children, and so these iPads do a lot to help them communicate and to help them learn. They're a very necessary tool in this day and age. So, thanks all for listening. Love y'all.